got no IBIS. What will we do? Ah. Just like you, I have also watched the 10,969,000 Sony ZV-E10 Mark II videos today. And yeah, but I might just have a little bit of different perspective, and it could be the perspective that you want to hear. Oh yeah, and by the way, this video is not going to be fancy or sponsored by Sony, or have I got the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II, but what I do have is years of experience with Sony cameras, and I absolutely love the Sony ZV-E10, the original one. But let's call it like it is. Let's all stop with the fake outrage, okay? Oh my god, it doesn't have IBIS, what a shit camera. Let's stop with that. Most people can't even spell IBIS, let alone what it means, so the fake outrage of piling on the bandwagon. I've seen a lot of videos. Gerald Dunn is a great example. My buddy Jason Morris is a great example. The active steady shot that is in this version of the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II seems really, really, really good. But that's not the problem, and that's not the perspective either. But the other problem that I can see from the videos, and it was something that has plagued quite a number of Sony cameras. These cameras, essentially the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II, where do they come up with these names? It is a baby FX30, and the FX30, I know people love my THs, the FX30 was a baby version of the FX3. The FX3 had a fan, the FX30 had also a fan. The Sony ZV-E10 Mark II has no fan. So it is really prone to overheating. The original Sony ZV-E10, even though I didn't necessarily experience many overheating issues, if any, I thought they were blown out of proportion. Gerald Dunn had a great example of where, yeah, when you drive this camera hard in certain conditions, warm conditions, especially 4K 60, you're getting like 15-20 minutes tops. Otherwise, if it's in a controlled condition or you've got some airflow, you might get the full juice out of this FZ100 battery, which is an amazing battery. It's in the camera that I'm shooting right now. It's Sony's flagship battery, I guess. It lasts forever. Now, that is also something that I guess folks need to be aware of. If you are in a sunny climate, if you're in a humid climate, a warm climate, if your room is warm where you shoot your videos, this has the potential to overheat. But that's also kind of another problem that folks need to be aware of. But I'm still not at the perspective. And I think by the time I get to it, most of you, when you hear it, will be like, fuck this guy. The kit lens that comes with the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II, can I just call it something else? It's 16-50, it's Gen 2, it's power zoom, it's all well and good. But when you are vlogging, there is a 33% crop on the active steady shot. Now that's a little bit less than what was on the original Sony ZV-E10 Mark I. I think that was like 44%. So you got to keep that in mind. Now you can just use a wider lens, like an 11mm, which looks all well and good, like my buddy Mark Bennett had. But those are things that you have to keep in mind, right? Do you really want your head this close? Do you really want to work with the crop? Can you just get a selfie stick and stick your arms out? Or is it something else, even entirely still? I mean, look at the state of this place. You can see that I was definitely not getting a Sony ZV-E10 Mark II to review from Sony. Hi, Sony. They're like watching this video going, this guy? Nah, take him. He's never getting anything. Oh, yeah. 4K, 60 frames per second. Great. It's going to plow through the old thermonuclear devices in the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II. It's going to eat your battery a little bit faster. It's going to put the camera under more strain, but it is really good to have 4K 60 in this camera. That is if you really know how to use it, and if you want to use it. I'd hazard a guess that a lot of people may not want to use it, won't know how to use it, and then wonder why their videos kind of have that weird soap opera effect that we all fought each other over when The Hobbit was released at 48 frames per second. But yeah, that's not it either. The thing here, right, is this has got Sony's cinematic S Cinetone. This is from the Venice line of cameras. This is their cinema line. This is an amazing color profile. In fact, I'm shooting this on S Cinetone, and yeah, completely screw up the exposure, and it just exposes your skin beautifully. Although I pretty screwed it up here. But it's not that. It's not the fact that this thing will do 4K, 10-bit color 422. Now, some of you are like, that sounds impressive. Don't know what it means. Basically, billion of colors versus millions of colors. Color space. You're probably going, okay, I'm not really sure what that means either. Well, what it does mean is you can color grade the shit out of it and the whole thing won't fall apart. If you're like, I don't color grade. I don't know how to color grade. I have no interest in color grading. Then you probably don't need that. The camera space on YouTube is absolutely loaded with a lot of folks who are really, really good at giving amazing overviews. Again, I count some of these folks as my friends. Some people don't believe anybody anymore because of different camera manufacturers asking some certain big time YouTubers to, you know, do things a certain way. But whatever. And then you have idiots like me who are giving their opinion on this perspective that I am going to get to next. Make no mistake about it. The Sony ZV-E10 Mark II is a great camera. Yes, it's got its shortfalls. It's got no IBIS. Oh my God, let's fake the outrage. It's got its downfalls, but it has got a really good sensor that's in something like the FX30, the 6700. Doesn't have the IBIS. But other than that, it's a pretty decent camera. But here's the thing. Many of you, myself, used to be included in this big gathering of maniacs who all suffer from one thing. Let me tell you what it is, right? Here's the thing. It's called GAS, okay? It's called Gear Acquisition Syndrome. Think of it like this. We are all magpies. We like shiny new things to take back to our nest, and invariably it's cast at one side and never used or eaten. Not that I'm saying you should eat the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II, but the thing is, a lot of people suffer from gas, right? And this is one of these things where they just have to have it. And this is where my perspective comes in. The camera you're shooting on right now, what does it do? Is it good enough? The last 5 videos you shot, whether it was commercial projects or something else, how did they come out? You upload them to YouTube, they got a few views, got a few comments. Chances are most people did not say, wow, the video quality is amazing, John Bob. Whoever John Bob is. I bet that's an expensive lens and camera. Thing is, most people don't really know. Yes, some cameras have a certain look, specifically lenses. The Sony ZV-E10 Mark II opens you up to the lens acquisition disease, which is far worse than the gear acquisition syndrome disease because you're constantly buying lenses. And the more lenses you buy, the less money you have. You don't know which one to use. So that's a good and a bad. But here's the thing. All the stuff you're shooting on right now, is it so bad? Is it so unusable? Is it just such a big pile of shit that you actually need to buy a new camera? Most of us will have a car. We will drive it like it's stolen until the wheels fall off. And then most of us will buy a camera and change it every 12 months. I've stopped that. So unless, put it like this, do you really need a new camera? Can you write down 5 reasons why you need a new camera? Okay, the camera that you have right now, it's on fire every 2 seconds. It doesn't shoot 4K 60. It doesn't have very good autofocus. It doesn't have a decent onboard mic, which the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II does because it takes the capsule mic out of the Sony ZV-E1 Mark I. Can you write down a list? And go, yeah, I need a new camera. So if you cannot come up with a list to buy a new camera, then the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II is not for you.